The air was thick with anticipation as I stepped onto the sprawling campus of my new college. It was my first year, and I was both nervous and excited. The sun was setting, casting long shadows across the buildings and trees. As I walked, the breeze rustled the leaves, almost whispering secrets that I couldn't quite decipher. My dormitory loomed ahead, a towering structure of aged brick and ivy. Its windows glimmered in the fading light, like eyes peering out from the darkness. The sound of my footsteps echoed through the empty corridors as I made my way to my room. The narrow hallway felt claustrophobic, with a lingering scent of mildew and neglect. Inside my room, the atmosphere shifted as if the air itself was denser. The walls were adorned with faded posters, remnants of previous inhabitants. The creaking of the old wooden floor beneath my feet sent shivers up my spine. I tried to shake off the unease, attributing it to the unfamiliar surroundings I had found myself in. Nightfall brought a new sense of dread. The dimly lit hallway was a maze of shadows, the flickering fluorescent lights casting an eerie glow. The silence was punctuated by the distant hum of a malfunctioning air vent, creating an unsettling rhythm. It was as if the building itself was alive, breathing in its own twisted way. As I laid in bed, sleep eluded me. Outside, the wind howled, rattling the window panes as if begging for entry. The soft whispers of the trees danced with the sound of raindrops tapping against the glass. In the darkness, every little sound became amplified, and my imagination ran wild. The scratching of branches against the window became long, gnarled fingers scraping against the glass, seeking entry into my sanctuary. And then the nightmares began. Each night brought visions of shadowy figures lurking in the corners of my room, their eyes gleaming with an otherworldly light. Their whispers echoed in my ears, speaking in a language I couldn't understand. The weight of their presence pressed down on me, suffocating and paralyzing. Days blended into nights, and the line between reality and the supernatural blurred. I started seeing things during the day as well, catching glimpses of movement in the corner of my eye, shadows that slithered away as I turned to face them. The college grounds, once vibrant and bustling, now seemed deserted, as if abandoned by life itself. One evening, as I wandered through the empty library, the shelves seemed to shift and contort, morphing into twisted, monstrous shapes. The musty scent of old books turned sickly sweet, suffocating me with its intensity. I could feel invisible eyes watching me from every corner, a malevolent presence lurking just out of sight. In desperation, I sought answers, delving into the college's history. Dark tales emerged, stories of occult rituals performed within these very walls, whispers of a long forgotten tragedy that stained the campus. The more I unearthed, the more I realized that my experiences were not isolated, that others had felt the presence of something sinister before. My last night in that cursed dormitory soon arrived. A storm raged outside, thunder booming like a malevolent heartbeat. As I laid in bed, afraid to close my eyes, the room grew cold. The air became thick, suffocating, and the sound of whispers filled the space. Shadows danced on the walls, contorting into grotesque shapes. It was as if the darkness itself had taken form. Summoning every ounce of courage I had left, I fled the room, leaving behind the oppressive atmosphere and the nightmares that plagued me. As I sprinted through the deserted corridors, the echoes of my footsteps seemed to merge with a chorus of ghostly laughter. The walls twisted and writhed, the floor seemed to shift beneath my feet, leading me deeper into the labyrinth of the building's malevolent heart. I stumbled upon a forgotten chamber, tucked away in a hidden alcove. The door stood ajar, beckoning me with its promise of answers. Hesitant but driven by a desperate curiosity, I stepped inside. The room was a vortex of darkness, punctuated only by the flickering light of a lone candle. As I approached the candle, a chilling breeze swept through the room, extinguishing its feeble flame. Panic engulfed me as the darkness swallowed me whole. Whispers surrounded me, swirling in a cacophony of voices. Their words a blend of ancient incantations and tormented cries. Unable to see, I reached out, searching for an escape. My hand grazed a cold, slimy surface, a grotesque, writhing presence that sent a shudder through my entire being. With a stifled scream, I recoiled, stumbling backward, and fell into an unseen void. Time lost all meaning as I plummeted through an abyss of swirling shadows. The whispers grew louder, tormenting my sanity, distorting my perceptions. Faces flashed before my eyes, twisted and contorted in agony. They reached out with spectral hands, clawing at me, their touch like ice on my skin. Suddenly, my descent halted abruptly. I found myself standing in a desolate, dilapidated courtyard. The moon loomed overhead, its pale light casting a glow on the cracked cobblestones beneath my feet. An ominous silence filled the air, broken only by the distant, mournful wails of lost souls. In the centre of the courtyard stood a towering statue, its features warped and grotesque. As I drew closer, I realized with mounting horror that it was a monument to the darkness itself. A sinister tribute to the malevolence that dwelled within the very fabric of the college. The statue seemed to pulsate with an otherworldly energy, tendrils of darkness wriggling around it like serpents. I could almost feel its gaze upon me, penetrating my very soul. Fear consumed me, and I knew I had trespassed into a realm beyond human comprehension. Driven by an instinctual survival instinct, I turned and ran, desperate to escape the clutches of this haunting nightmare. The echoes of my footsteps blended with the haunting cries that filled the air, pursuing me relentlessly. The once familiar hallways twisted and morphed, trapping me in an ever-shifting maze of terror. But just as I feared I would never find an exit, a dim light flickered in the distance. A door materialized, offering a sliver of hope. With my heart pounding in my chest, I lunged toward it, crossing the threshold into a dimly lit corridor. As the door slammed shut behind me, the world outside the college faded into a distant memory. I was forever scarred by the horrors I had witnessed, left with a lingering sense of unease that would forever haunt my dreams. To this day, I can still hear the whispers, feel the touch of the darkness on my skin, and see the malevolent eyes that watched me from the shadows. The college, once a place of knowledge and growth, had become a cursed abode, trapping souls in its sinister grasp, and I, a mere freshman, was forever marked by its nightmarish legacy.